Signs you're forcing a relationship and calling it love. Sometimes the relationship isn't falling apart. You're just holding it together with your bare hands. And no one tells you that forcing a relationship doesn't always look desperate. Sometimes it looks loyal. Sometimes it looks patient. Sometimes it looks like fighting for love. But deep down, your body knows. You feel tired in a way sleep doesn't fix. You feel anxious even on good days. You rehearse conversations before they happen. You explain someone's behavior more than they explain it themselves. And slowly, quietly, you begin to shrink. So let's talk about a few signs you might be forcing a relationship, not because you're weak, but because you care. And caring without clarity can drain a person. Sign 1. You're always adjusting, but nothing ever adjusts back. You keep changing your tone, your expectations, your needs. You tell yourself, maybe I'm asking for too much. Maybe I should be more understanding. Maybe this is just how relationships are. So you soften your voice. You wait longer. You accept less. And the scary part? It becomes normal. You stop asking for consistency. You stop expecting effort. You start celebrating bare minimum behavior like it's a miracle. If you're always the one bending, stretching, and reshaping yourself to fit someone else's comfort, that's not compromise. That's self-abandonment. Healthy relationships don't require you to disappear to be loved. Sign 2. You feel more anxious than safe. Love is supposed to bring peace, not perfection, not fantasy, but safety. If you're constantly wondering where you stand, afraid to speak up, scared you'll ruin things by expressing feelings, that's not excitement. That's emotional tension. You check your phone too often. You reread messages. You analyze tone, timing, punctuation. And when they finally respond, your body relaxes, like you've been holding your breath. That's not love. That's survival mode. Real connection doesn't make you feel like you're one message away from losing everything. Sign 3. You're doing emotional labor alone. You're the one starting conversations, fixing misunderstandings, apologizing first even when you're wrong. You're the one asking, "What's wrong? Did I upset you? Can we talk?" Meanwhile, they pull back, go quiet, act confused about why you're affected. So you become the emotional manager of the relationship. You explain feelings, you translate needs, you smooth over silence. And after a while, you feel tired, but also guilty for being tired. Love should be shared effort, not one person carrying the emotional weight for two. Sign 4. You keep waiting for them to become who they promised. You're not in love with who they are. You're in love with who they could be. You remember their potential, their words, their early effort. So you stay, hoping consistency will return. But time passes and nothing changes. A relationship built on future versions is fragile. You deserve someone who shows up now, not someone you have to wait for indefinitely. Sign 5. You feel lonely even when you're with them. This one hurts the most. You sit beside them but feel unseen. You talk but don't feel heard. You're together but alone. You miss connection, not the person. And instead of addressing that loneliness, you tell yourself, "At least I'm not alone. At least there's someone." But loneliness inside a relationship cuts deeper than being single ever could, because it makes you question your worth. Sign 6. You're afraid to let go, not happy to stay. Ask yourself this gently. Are you staying because you feel loved, or because you're afraid of starting over? Fear can look like commitment. Fear can sound like loyalty. But love feels lighter than fear. If the thought of leaving brings panic, but staying brings heaviness, that's not attachment. That's a bond built on fear of loss, not joy of connection. Sign 7. Your body is sending signals your mind keeps ignoring. You feel tense around them. Your chest tightens during conversations. Your stomach drops when their name appears. Your body reacts before your logic catches up, because your body doesn't lie. When something isn't safe emotionally, your nervous system knows. Listen to it. Sign 8. You keep explaining them to other people. You defend their behavior. You soften their actions when telling your friends. They didn't mean it like that. They're just stressed. They're not good at expressing feelings. At some point, you realize you're in a relationship with their excuses, not their effort. You shouldn't have to convince others that you're loved. Sign 9. You feel guilty for wanting more. You minimize your needs. You tell yourself, other people have it worse. I should be grateful. I'm too emotional. But wanting consistency, effort, affection, and clarity is not asking for too much. It's asking the right person. Sign 10. You're tired, but you keep pushing. You're emotionally exhausted, but you keep trying. Because giving up feels like failure. Because walking away feels like wasting time. Because you've invested so much. But staying where you're drained is more costly than starting again. Love should not feel like constant effort with little return. A gentle truth. Forcing a relationship doesn't mean you didn't love deeply. It means you loved without being met. And that hurts. But recognizing this is not defeat. It's clarity. And clarity is the beginning of peace.